I'm John Millard, and I used to be like a manager in the Discovery Museum and Laing Art Gallery and the Shipley Art Gallery in Gateshead. I'm standing in front of a big carving in the Laing Art Gallery that's by Gerrad Robinson, a Newcastle carver from the middle of the last century. He was born in about 1834, and when he was 14 was apprenticed to a woodcarver called Thomas Tweedy, who produced a load of woodcarvers in Newcastle in the second half of the 19th century, including Gerrard Robinson, including Ralph Headley, the artist, and Elijah Copeland, who's like a radical undercarver. But Gerrard Robinson was the master of them all. He was the foreman of the workshop when he finished his apprenticeship and produced in a new style. He invented a style of sideboard, which sounds a bit weird, but what it means is he actually plunked pictures in carved wood onto bits of furniture. So it was like a high Victorian mad furniture. In the 1850s, carving was amazingly popular in Newcastle, and there were a number of carvers set up, and artists came along a bit later, painters in the 1880s, 1890s, all struggling to make a living on Tyneside. Now, some of them, like Gerrad Robinson, tried out in London because they hoped they would make more money there, but Robinson only stayed in London for a couple of years and then returned to Tyneside. But one of the carvings that Robinson made at Tweedy's workshop was the 5 related carvings, the story of Tam O'Shanter from Robert Burns's poem, starting off in a pub where he's having a drink and ending up with him being chased by witches and all the hounds of hell across a bridge. And that was produced by Robinson and then copied several times by apprentices. It was one of the things they had to do, was to copy Robinson's original, including Ralph Headley and his Gerrard Robinson's son, Henry H.T. Robinson. The Tweedy workshop was right in the middle of town. It was in Granger Street on the Central Exchange building, and there was a long window there that people would look through and see the sculptures being done, and some of them presented as they're finished. What we're looking at here is King Alfred on a boar hunt. The figure in the middle there is King Alfred, and there's a boar down here just being attacked by some dogs, so the dogs are running ahead of the horseman and have the boar. It isn't carved out of one piece. It's several pieces of wood which are then fitted together, and you can see how that works in the foreground there, where you can see blocks of wood that have been carved, and that gives you the opportunity to carve the background in some detail. Some of the figures behind these figures, for example, are carved in detail, which you can only do by disassembling it and then remaking it. About 1885, Gerrad Robinson moved to Pine Street, and as his business was going downhill, he died there in 1891, and his son took over the business, but it was past. He was still trying to do the same sort of carving as his father was doing, and there wasn't a market for it anymore.